rise above the struggles, all the struggles and strife. Melody waiting to be sung. Now take a chance, girl, the journey's just begun. Melody waiting to be sung. Take a chance, the journey's just begun. There's a place for me in this world.
Hi. Well, I should say that this is all a work in progress, but I've started a Facebook page that's called That's How We Roll, where you and I can have conversations, and you can also talk to other folks who also are handicapped and dealing with the same things that we are. So I hope that works out for us, and stay tuned. But when you're on Facebook, look up That's How We Roll. Okay? Hi, my name is Noelle Brown, and I'm doing this blog for handicapped folks like me. I've been in a wheelchair for like 10 years now, and I've learned some things. And just to recap, my mom had MS, and I watched her go through a really rough time. And I have MS. And she would have passed away by now at my age. I'm 58, and I'm still here. I still have my own place. I still go see live music all the time and enjoy my friends. And I've noticed a couple things. For instance, I watched with Mom. She was so popular, so magnetic, and she had a million friends. And then when she got sick, they all did the big fade on her. And I really pondered that. Why would they do that to her? So then I went down with MS, and I had a million friends. Most of them did the big fade on me. And that's just really hard to take. And when I've talked to other people with MS, like in support groups and stuff, I hear over and over that this has happened to people. And then I moved away for a few years. I lived in several other states, countries. And when I came back, I noticed that the people who knew me when I was walking and talking, as I call it, they had a real hard time dealing with me now. I'm still the same person, still have the same personality, and they don't really want anything to do with me. But I have noticed the people I've met since I've been in my chair, they think I'm great, you know? They met me with my limited mobility, and it doesn't faze them. That is really a tough thing to figure out why it goes that way, but it does. And really, I'm the one that's used to this disease now. They aren't. I have to realize that. And I have to cut them a little grace, you know, while they figure out their own, internal demons, discomforts, that kind of thing. You don't want to allow it. You need to set your boundaries And after you give somebody that moment of grace to figure it out, if they're still causing all kinds of drama in your life, you need to just let it go. And there are still a lot of amazing people who see the best in me and help me be a better person. And I just surround myself as much as I can with these people. So please consider that. You know, family and friends, it can go both ways with either of them. You know, they can be incredibly critical. They can be incredibly demanding of you to live your life a certain way. And, you know, we're grown-ups, and even though we're dealing with this disease, or however you see it, if you had an accident or something, you know, we come to this point by different ways. But we are grown-ups, and we do have our own right to make decisions in our life. So please always consider that, and consider yourself first. Not to be selfish or disregard other people. Don't let go of your boundaries.
A boundary is, I will or won't blank if blank. Not, you can't blank, blank, blank. Not, you better not. It's not a threat. It's a rule for yourself. And your boundaries are for you to respect.
Consider yourself first. Really, sometimes you're the only one who will treat yourself the way you should be treated. And do things that make you proud. Just eject yourself from the park with toxic relationships. I learned that. I learned it the hard way. I learned it watching Mom. And now I have to do all that for myself. And I have healthy boundaries now. And I keep them really foremost in my mind. Okay, let's talk about boundaries. A lot of people aren't familiar with that term or aren't really good at keeping them. So, boundaries imply restrictions, right? Limitations. But, ironically, if you use your boundaries correctly, they'll really set you free. They will. So, I'll give you one example. I have multiple sclerosis, and stress is the number one thing that causes exacerbations of my disease. In other words, makes me a lot sicker, puts me in peril, might not get better, you know, that kind of thing. Well, I got people in my life that try to drag me into their dramas all the time. Well, guess what? Dramas cause stress. Stress is the number one thing that makes it worse. So, I give them this speech. I say, stress is the number one thing that causes my exacerbations, and your drama is nothing but stress to me. So I choose not to participate, and I walk away.
Compassionate people have very clear boundaries that they insist are respected. They respect other people's boundaries, but they also have their own boundaries, and they're very clear about what's okay and what's not okay, and they enforce that with the people in their life.
When you figure out, take stock of your situation, identify your boundaries, write them down, make them plain to everybody in your life. Just make them your law. And You know, if you stick to them, other people will toe the line too. So, that's it. So, will you please do that? And will you let me know how it goes and what changes you've made and how you deal with all this? Because it's fascinating to me and we can probably help each other out. So I hope you have a fantastic day. Enjoy it as much as you can. And we will talk again soon. Bye-bye.
People don't get that setting boundaries is actually an act of self-respect, whereas putting up walls is just an act of fear. The difference is that boundaries are like building doorways. You're essentially telling people how they can access intimacy with you. You're setting conditions on who you'll deal with and who you won't, whereas putting up walls is just cutting out the outside world.
Boundaries are not to control other people's actions towards you. They're to control your own actions based on what others do to you.